Pause the music for a second. Hey man, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Perfect. Dude, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Hold on 1 second.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of it is, I remember when I was first starting set three, I was watching some of your videos. I can't remember them, but I was watching your videos for sure.
Cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, it was probably
Yeah,
like the Vanguard Sniper or like Girl Power. That they call
something
you
like
girls.
that.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyways, it was an experience. Okay. First, let me go ahead and share my screen.
Sure.
So the very first thing, so that I don't repeat myself a million times, is can you see my screen? Just this screen?
Yeah, I see you. There you go.
Okay. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is I was just watching your game. And in multiple in your bots as well. So, okay, say you have the following units. You have Caitlyn, you have Leona, you have Poppy.
Hmm.
Your default positioning is always this, right? I see this all the time. Something like this, something like this, something like this.
Hmm.
Sometimes you do this, sometimes you do this. But it's almost always something along the lines of this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll give you a quick quiz. Is that if let's just say you know no Blitzcrank exists in this game, how would you position?
So I
You
would
can
just put Poppy and Leona in front, and I would put Caitlyn on a side.
so something like this.
Yeah.
Or something like this? How would you do it?
I would group the Leona and the Poppy together so they don't get focused.
Okay. So why do you put your two tanks in the front in this case? What's the reason behind it?
So I put them there to create distance between the enemy carries and Kate, right? That's why I wouldn't put them right next to Kate. And I put them together so that none of them takes all the aggro. Neither of them takes all the aggro.
Do you want them to split the aggro, or do you want them to focus Leona first and Poppy next?
I want them to split the aggro so that no one goes down too fast. And ideally, we're focusing one unit.
We're focusing the same unit, right? So the key units, the things you want to focus all three units want to focus the same unit.
Hmm.
You want your frontline to split the aggro. In this case, your frontline's not gonna split aggro. They're gonna focus Leona first and Poppy next, assuming your team is played here. Okay, so that's fine.
Hmm. Wait, so
Now,
you're saying I should split them up?
I mean, you can. It's up to you.
Hmm.
This is fine. Your reasoning why you want to group them up is makes a lot of sense. You want to focus one unit at a time,
Hmm.
and then similarly, they'll focus one unit at a time. That's totally normal. So this is fine. Now, now when you do this, I mean, there's something wrong with this, right? Which is, which is that you have everything, all your reasoning before,
Hmm.
but your Poppy's way back here, and she's never gonna split the aggro. So against teams that are like positioned here, you're never gonna split aggro. Your Poppy's never gonna do damage in time. She's gonna take like 4 seconds to walk to the front line.
Yeah.
Your Poppy's a dead unit for the first few seconds. Now, what if I told you there was a way to counter Blitzcranks and Kha'Zix and split aggro and never get your Blitzcrank Caitlyn hooked and your Poppy and Leona split the aggro? Yeah, I think I already said that. And your Caitlyn doesn't get targeted first. Would you believe me?
I would with that setup. I definitely would. All right, let me.
How
So
would you?
let
How
me,
would you do it though?
would I backline all three of my units and put Caitlyn between the Leon and the Poppy?
Yeah, so exactly.
Yeah.
In this case, you're covered against Blitzcranks on this side and Blitzcranks on this side. Your units will walk forward together, and they'll most often split aggro. And you're covered against Kha'Zixes usually, because usually they walk up. Depending on how close the front line is, sometimes Poppy will walk back. It's not a guarantee, but it's better than. It's definitely better. I guess this is slightly better, but like to be honest, it's like usually you can't cover against Kha'Zix early game anyways, because otherwise you have to frontline Caitlyn, something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So this does the best job of covering all your angles.
Makes sense.
So
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 wait, wait.
right off the bat,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest takeaway is that your early game positioning is extremely poor because you always have a backline blistering cook,
Mm.
even though it's not completely unnecessary.
Okay,
So
that makes
that's
sense.
the first key takeaway.
Okay.
So your game one, your game one. My first like 7 notes are just like, oh, your position is really scuffed. And then
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, that's just one game. It's understandable. And then I look at your next game, and it's still the same. It's still the exact same positioning. And then I look at your stream, it's still the same positioning. So you're missing something very fundamental, which is why you position in a way why you position units. Um, the reason why you behind positioning your units, you've been autopiloting your positioning for sure.
Mm,
Like you haven't been thinking about positioning. It's very obvious.
yeah. So
Or early game positioning.
let me ask you a question. So let's say I'm level 4 and I have Kate Ash, right? And you want to
Okay.
benefit from the sniper buff range, but you are worried about blitzes in the lobby.
Yeah,
Would you?
so that's obviously very tricky.
Yeah.
In this case, what do you value and what do you not value is what you need to consider,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's just say, like, would you do this? You could.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not very good. It depends on what you value.
Yeah.
Usually, I would do something like this though.
Okay.
So I
So.
would frontline my tanks like this. I'd probably center them, and I'd probably have Caitlyn with all the items because Caitlyn's probably level 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, whatever. And then just Ashe as blitz bait.
Okay.
Now this setup is really vulnerable to Graves, so you
Mm-hmm.
might want to split out one away.
Makes sense. Okay.
Okay. And
I,
then earlier example against Graves, you might also want to split your tanks one away as well, just because they could be a little bit vulnerable.
yeah, that makes sense. But I mean,
But anyway,
even if Graves ults here, I mean, by the time he ults, the Poppy and Leona should be out of range with Caitlyn, right? So it's actually
well in
kind of
this
fun.
case with Caitlyn and Poppy, this is Graves will never all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the common case with this. This is the case that Graves really matters.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're trying to get better, which I think you are,
Of course.
you shouldn't really be autopiloting. You should really
Yeah.
actually just think about positioning and why you position.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're right.
like I don't really want to see this anymore. This is really bad, and it's obvious now why, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like I guarantee you, I would say 75% of TFT challenger TFT players do this,
Mm-hmm.
and that's obviously incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
But now you know why, right?
Yeah. It makes sense. Cool.
And
Thank
like
you.
this is bad too, right? This is also bad.
Well, it's bad because Caitlyn and Blitzcrank are next to each other, and then Graves ults and hits both
Yeah,
Caitlyn
yo,
and
that's
Blitz.
that's true too. But
Mm.
that's not why it's bad. That's because reason why it's bad is because after Malphite dies, Caitlyn's the next target to die. You want to swap them like this, right? So this way, Blitzcrank gets grabs, tanks everything here. Malphite walks up, tanks the rest. Then Caitlyn dies last. And that's why it's bad.
Got
Okay,
it.
so the first thing you need to do is just not autopilot your positioning. I know on stream is hard, so it's something you have to really practice off stream because
Mm-hmm.
on stream that's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think about it off stream.
Sure.
Okay. So the first game, I'll just mute it. Let's go over at 2 times speed. First few minutes you talk about playing Zaya. That's fine. Also, I watched you on your Zaya game. I had some criticism, which is you had 7 out of 9 Zayas. I know there was 2 other Zaya players. You were decently strong to not have to use your Nikos there. It
Mm.
ended up working out. It ended up working out. But I considered greening it a little bit more. I mean, it ended up working out, so it's hard to say. But
Would.
like, I probably would have slow rolled because you're actually really really strong with those
Mm-hmm.
items.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason to goof your econ, and I'd probably use your Nikos. I would use them aggressively, but not that aggressively. You didn't need to use it on 3-1. I would use it at 4-1 to complete everything.
Got it. So would you have rolled at all at 3-1, or would you have just slow rolled immediately off of
I
like
almost always
40?
slow roll immediately, but I mean,
Mm.
I play a different style Zaya than everyone else, so
Mm.
it's understandable.
Okay.
But
Cool.
what I was trying to say was, there's no reason to have to spike right there, right now. It ended up putting you on like a million win streak, so it ended up working out.
Mm-hmm.
But um, it did end up working out. So obviously, there's merit to what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not what I would have done. Okay,
Okay.
let's just continue with this game. Let me get this. Here, let me play it back at more than 2 times speed.
Okay.
The early game doesn't really matter because you don't do anything egregiously wrong.
Yay.
I'm at 2.25.
Yeah, I know you were talking about
Something
my
with
mid-game itemization. And mid-game in general is my weakest point, I think.
okay. Oh, anyway, 7 or 6 right there was fine. I might have kept it. Not sure.
Mm.
But you probably. I didn't. I mean, it was weird that you bought the Kha'Zix over some other pairs. I don't remember why. Like I thought J4 works probably better there, because you were really thinking about Shredder here. I remember you talking about it. You're like, oh, I really want to go Shredder here. Let's speed up that. Okay, let's go back to 2.0. Okay, so you commit the Last Whisper right away. That's fine. If you're trying to win streak, you should obviously commit. If you're just trying to save HP, you should also always commit. But the problem right here is that you're not committing on like a level 2 unit. You're committing, and it's actually making very little impact right now. So committing this item, in my opinion, is a little bit too early because it's not making a big enough impact. Now the alternative, if you decide to commit the other item, which was I think your sorry, I should force this. I think your score is covering it, but you also had oh yeah, you also had Thief's Gloves. Alternatively, if you committed Thief's Gloves, that makes a way bigger impact because you can put it on Leona, and that makes a big impact. So, I mean, committing here is fine, but you're actually not getting a lot of value from committing, so you might as well be non-committal. And the other thing you mentioned is you might as well play Ashe over Zaya. So I think you mentioned it later, so that one's not a big deal. But position is really scuffed here. Right here, you got pretty lucky that there's a Blitzcrank player, so it didn't matter. But if you didn't have Blitzcrank, he would have rolled you a lot harder.
Got it. So there, what I should have done is what we discussed at the beginning with the Kate Poppy Leona example.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm not gonna criticize this too much anymore. I put positions really scuffed like 5 times in my notes, but since we already covered it, it's whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Cool. Yeah, I don't mind repetition.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. Okay, in that case, this point right here, you put Graves backline right here again. And Graves is one of the units you actually really, really want to frontline. Because the faster his cell goes off, the bigger impact it is. It's not one of those ults where like the later it goes off, it doesn't matter when it goes off. The reason why like going off earlier just means it usually means you can get like a two ults through the game. I don't know, it's just the earlier it goes off, the faster you can make it like a 3v2. And it makes a big difference. So Graves really wants to be in front line.
It sounds like I'm
so,
over
like-
tunneling on like Blitzcrank threat, basically.
Yeah, like for example, this fight, what you would have probably killed one more unit, or you probably didn't kill 2. You probably would have had like a way more favorable fight if your Graves didn't spend how long did he spend walking up? It was a long time.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. He spent 3 seconds walking up before he did anything. That means he's probably spent like 6 seconds before he got a single smoke screen down. So that's a big deal. Imagine this entire clump already smoke screened, and then like his next smoke screen comes up 3 seconds earlier. So he only got one. He only got one smoke screen this fight because he didn't frontline him, right?
Yeah.
So this is a big deal. If you got a second smoke screen, you probably could have one more unit. Anyways, that's why positioning matters. That's 2 HP you lost right here.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, I was thinking of also using your positioning to do like an educational guide. I can't reveal it, but there's something I'll be just if I can use like your video as like permission.
Absolutely.
To do some guides. Okay, yeah. Okay. So you got a Hyro Pyro gamer here. At this point, you decide to pivot out of Zaya. That's fine. And you stack your items on Zaya still. That's okay. You probably wanted to keep Zaya in case you played Zaya. So that's fine. This is fine.
So I think here it was more I didn't feel like I had a good item holder anyway on my team for Last Whisper because my logic was I don't want to commit Last Whisper to Darius or Jace or Graves and then have to sell those units for like a Lucian or something, you know? Is that correct?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Okay.
But like it kind of goes against the logic of making Last Whisper in the first place, which is why you want to be as strong as possible. So somewhere there's a discrepancy there because your logic contradicts each other. Because why bother making Last Whisper on a Zaya 1 if you're not gonna make Last Whisper on Darius 1 when they literally had the same impact?
Yeah.
Right? Because the reason why Last Whisper exists on Zaya 1 is because you can shred their armor. Darius can do the same thing. It's not like Last Whisper is that much worse on Darius than Zaya, right? So there's some conflict there. Anyways,
Yeah. And
it's
sorry,
okay. You want? I mean, keeping the Zaya there is fine because you might go Shredder here. There's a chance you might go Shredder.
Yeah. So last question on sort of the early game itemization. So you mentioned slamming a Thief's Glove and putting on a 2-star. I guess I've been avoiding making Thieves Glove just because I find Glove kind of difficult to get multiple of, and if I get too early game, I'm kind of assuming I'm probably not going to be able to get more later, and it feels like Last Whisper is so essential versus all the armor. Like any physical damage comp kind of requires Last Whisper. Do you think you still think it's prudent to just slam a Thieves Glove and try to win streak
Uh,
off of it?
I prioritize. I mean, I like these gloves. I think it's super OP. It's a really good strong early item, and it's a super strong late game too. I mean, I've been saying this like the gospel, but I really like these gloves. These gloves is best in Slam, Irelia.
Wow.
And these
Okay.
gloves is insane on Jinx and KO as well. So I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
Obviously, you can't build Last Whisper as easily, but like there's pros and cons of that.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
It's just my opinion. Every person has their own playstyle, but it's not about Last Whisper or Thieves Gloves as items to slam. It's about like why you slammed it there, right? So that's the reasoning. You have to really think about why you slammed it there, which I don't know if it makes sense. Which is like you slammed it there to save a little bit of HP, but if you slammed it there to save a little bit of HP, you might as well sell it and put it on a unit, unless you're super committed to Shredder, right?
Yeah, I was probably overly committed to Shredder just because I only
But
had
you're
one
not
Zaya.
overly committed to Shredder. This
Yeah, yeah,
board is
yeah.
not. I mean, you look at this board, you're like, okay, I can go Shredder if 5 Zaya show up in my shop, but otherwise I would not go Shredder. Why would it change to have one single Zaya? Like I don't look at this. Looking at this board with 0 Zayas and 1 Zayas, I think the same thing. I'm not playing Shredder. So why, if you slammed it earlier, why would you make that decision to keep it now? Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And what I meant is not that my board was committed to Shredder, that I was too committed to Shredder.
Oh yeah, you're probably channeling. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's a mistake.
yeah.
Anyways, it's not a big mistake though. Like I totally understand it. Okay. And then later you say that you don't have a good Last Whisper holder, and you put everything on Yasuo. now now the question is you already know you don't have a good Last Whisper holder, right? Also, leveling here was really bad too. Because you're on a 3 loss streak, so you want to keep losing. Okay. So you know you don't have a good Last Whisper holder. Do you think Yasuo is a good Last Whisper Last Whisper IE holder?
No, he isn't.
It's probably okay, right? It's probably okay, but probably not. So the argument is like, why would you make Last Whisper IE here? It's not even that good. You might want to consider making a GA instead, right? Because you're not getting value off your items. You're actually just making items, and they're not doing anything.
Sure.
Anyways, you can there's disagreement with that, but the idea is like basically unless you're like hard committed to Irelia or Kale, Irelia or Jinx at this point, I would think twice about. I would actually not autopilot this decision because it doesn't make you strong.
Got it. So you think in this particular case, because I have a 2-star Leona, GA would be better just because she would get more value out of the item than Yasuo would get out of an IE.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I would slam GA here because obviously Leona with GA doesn't get any value either. So like it's confusing, but like I'm trying to get you out of the habit of autopiloting things. You can just say Last Whisper IE is generically strong, which is true, but like you're all autopiloting this game because you're making an assumption that you're gonna play Irelia and Jinx. It's my logic.
Yeah.
Anyways, say you put Last Whisper on Darius. You should go ahead and slam the item on. You should probably just slam one of your items on the pirates anyways, because putting items on pirates give you a huge chance of farming gold here, and combined with the fact that you're on a 3 loss streak would make you econ very very hard. So you actually lose a lot of econ. Not this round, but the next round. You lose a ton of econ. You actually lose a ton of econ this round too, because your Yasuo kills the entire enemy team. Yasuo gets every single last hit here, so
Yeah.
you don't get any value.
So it's interesting. So based on what you're saying, it sounds like you generally don't see these items and then say, okay, I know I'm going to be playing this comp. Instead, you just play the items that are going to be effective immediately to protect your health and win streak. Is that sort of an accurate description of what you're saying?
Yeah, in this case, I would actually lose streak. But yeah, if since I can clearly tell you're trying to win, that's what I would do if I was trying to win win every fight.
Got it. Okay.
Just build the items that's most effective right now. Don't try to build future items. You're
Okay.
not even guaranteed to hit Irelia or like Jinx. So
Yeah.
just build the items right now.
Makes
If
sense.
you're gonna play for early game, just play for early game. Don't play for late game.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's really sad here. You actually won the fight. This is tragic. And Jane gets every single kill, so that's even more tragic.
So even with the loss streak changes, since you got a lot less gold for loss streak than in 2 patches ago, I think it was, you still think it's preferable to just keep the streak here rather than protect HP?
Well, let's just say how you lose here. How much gold do you get? You get 3 gold this round. You get 3 gold next round. So you lose 6 gold. You literally lose. I mean, 6 gold is a lot of gold right now, because then you can make the interest threshold next round and the next round. So you probably lose 8 gold here.
Okay. And then part of the logic for me leveling early is I like to get the chance to high roll a 4 cost.
So that's how full plays, right? I mean, obviously there's merit to that, but I'm the believer. I mean, I think I don't take this the wrong way, but like I think his playstyle works, but like um um I think learning how to properly econ is more important than learning how to play aggro. Like squeezing econ whenever you can, and not relying on not like realizing when to econ and realizing when to pre-level is important. And this is a place to econ. I know that Paul will level here every time. I get that, but I think his decision is incorrect.
Got it. And I think also Pult would play better up to this point and have a stronger economic position anyway, because I'm low econ and my board's not that strong. Oh, I guess my board's
No,
okay now.
I feel like your board is totally super strong actually.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't play like Bolt, so we if you ask him, he'll give you a different opinion. But this is my reasoning why, because you're losing too much gold here.
Yeah.
Two or 3 rounds of 4 cost is not worth this much gold loss. You're losing way too much gold. So obviously this position is awful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons why it's awful, but you probably lose this fight because of positioning low. Oh no, you win this fight, but you made this fight way too close because of positioning low.
Yeah. I think I was trying
And
to
you didn't
protect.
get single gold. Oh, so sad.
Yeah.
I'm actually so sad for you because you're down like at least 10 or 12 gold at this point. Oh, so you high rolled a Jace here. That's why I remember this game was super high roll.
Yeah. I wasn't
And
able to convert.
because of positioning, your pirates don't get a single kill this entire game though. Because your Jace gets focus fire too quickly, and then your other tanks don't get kills because of your Jhin. So it's really unfortunate.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I did this positioning. There's probably something
Okay,
around
so
Blitz.
my next few points is that there was nothing wrong with your unit buying decision because you're so poor. You can't buy any units, so you just have to sit around for like next few rounds. At this point, you'd probably be up to like 35 gold, 32 or 35 gold if you just kept your lose streak. You'd be down like, I don't know, like 10 more HP. Might be a 78. Because you would lose 1 extra round, right? That round you would have won, 2-6, you would have lost instead. So you might be down 10 HP.
Yeah.
But you would be up like 12 gold, and that's, dude, only a madman would think it would make that trade. Like 10 HP for 12 gold at this point. There's only like if you could see in the future, you would never make that trade. I mean, you would always take the gold. Anyway, so your pirates are really poorly positioned because your Jace actually gets Oh no, this one's fine. This position here was fine. Like this was fine. Grace still wants to be up, but in this case, yeah, at least you have your tanks the splitting aggro. So this was fine.
So here,
But the next, I think the next few fights, it was so bad. It might not have been the next one, but the next one. Can't remember. We'll see. Yeah, keep going.
so here, I assume again I'm trying to dodge Blitz, but maybe what I should be doing is putting swapping Graves and Darius, right? And putting Graves frontline, and then
Yeah.
Darius,
Sorry,
if he
I
gets
forgot.
pulled, it's whatever, right?
Yeah. You should have Darius in the backline. I actually wrote a note. I just didn't read it. Darius wants to be backline. Grace wants to be frontline. You can use Darius as split bait, and then Darius wants to join the fight later, anyways, when
Yeah.
everyone's already a little bit injured.
Yeah.
So I super agree with that.
Okay.
And then there was a Lucian in your shop earlier. I would consider Lucian just because Lucian allows you to pivot into maybe Jinx, and Lucian 2 is probably better with these items than Jin 1. So there was a Lucian in your shop earlier. You didn't pick it up. Similar thing. Kha'Zix 2 could be playable. I don't know. It's hard to say. Wait,
I mean,
hold on.
Kha'Zix 2 with those items instead of Jin 1.
It's hard to say. It's debatable. But like Kha'Zix 2 with Infiltrator is very, very close.
Yeah.
That's
Cool.
not a big deal. Okay. Let's move past this. There's nothing you can do. You can't really make any decisions here because you're too poor. Position here is still fine. It's fine. Might as well frontline your grade since you're already cornering your Jin. But okay, so you pick up a Jin from the carousel. I do agree. Wait, hold on. Is this the one? Yeah, you pick up a Jin from the carousel. I do agree with it. You do have 2 belts already, so I kind of less agree with it, but it's not too bad. It's not like a game-changing decision. I personally, I don't know what I would have picked up, but like probably wouldn't have picked up the belt. But it's fine. It's fine.
So
Because
at,
you're
thi-
picking up from the perspective of hitting 2-star Jin.
so
I like that.
at this point in the game, right? I already have a Jin. And I have okay items for Jin. If you look at this, do you say, okay, I'm probably gonna commit to like a Jin Vanguard game, or do you say I'm still open and maybe I'm still looking for like Jinx ideally?
I would commit to like a Jin-based build. That's what I would do. But not. I wouldn't play 6 Dark Stars though, because you're lacking all the Dark Stars, and Dark Stars 6 Dark Stars isn't good unless you hit Zerath. And the last thing is that 3 Dark Stars isn't a real buff. It's not a real buff, especially when your Dark Stars don't die. Which let me show you your positioning afterwards. Let me show you your positioning for the next 2 fights, and then you'll see why your Dark Stars don't die. So so this is why your Dark Stars don't die. Shaco doesn't really die till like mid fight because he usually gets focused after a tank dies, right? That's how Infiltrator works. Your Mordekaiser's back here is never gonna die. After Jace dies, Mordekaiser gets focused, but Mordekaiser's kind of tanky, so he's never gonna die. And then your Jin's never gonna die, obviously. So then your 3 Dark Stars here is completely useless. You can literally, instead of having this Shaco, you can literally put a Jin frontline. It'll probably make a bigger impact. Because then it will die. Like it'll die for sure. So I'd probably play a second Jin anyways. Oh, sorry, not second Jin, like a J4 frontline. They'll die for sure.
Got it. Okay.
Probably play a second Jin anyways. Your team obviously lacks damage, so you just want to kill as many units as possible. And I think a second Jin helps you the most with that. But anyways, usually 3 Dark Stars isn't a real buff. But if you're really playing 3 Dark Stars and you really want to get value out of it, make sure the Dark Star units die. So don't do something like this.
Makes sense.
In this fight, your Jace gets focused really early. Guess I'm really you got kind of unlucky with the ultimates, but basically you could have killed like 5 or 6 units, and you ended up killing 0, 0, 1, just because your position was really bad. It's just you need to split aggro on your tanks. You can't just have your units solo die one after another.
So how would you be splitting aggro here? So obviously backlining them doesn't make sense, but would you keep them on Hex, or you would frontline them all together?
Backlining that makes sense.
Okay.
It doesn't backlining make sense. You can literally backline everything in the line, they'll split aggro. You can frontline everything in the line, they'll split aggro.
Okay.
You can frontline everything, corner Darius, put Jin here. They'll split aggro. You'll probably get a lot more value.
Okay, but not Jace alone up front.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jason's just gonna die this fight. Here, watch. I mean, he might not die. He gets some value, but he dies so early. Oh, but just gets a ton of value this fight because your opponent's weak. But imagine if your Jace lived with like 1 HP. Imagine if he had like an AP item on Nari. Your Jace would have died and wouldn't have gotten the second ult off.
Yeah.
But if you frontline everything, I guarantee he would get at least 2 ults off. You got kind of lucky this fight.
Yeah.
But
makes sense.
I mean, in general, against like stronger opponents, it makes a huge deal. It's a huge deal. But that's enough about positioning. I think you really understand it now. So at this point, you choose to roll down. I think this is very smart. This roll down is very smart. I wouldn't have done it. I would have regretted it, but like I wouldn't have done it myself. But I think it's the right play. So that's good. I got to learn a little bit as well. Some guy recently released a Reddit article, Reddit post about the effectiveness of rolling down 7 versus 8. I don't know if you saw it. The one where he's talking about variance. And basically, if you're trying to look for a KL, it almost makes no difference whether you're 8 or 9.
Mm.
And it only barely makes a difference whether you're 7 or 8. So I might start rolling down more at 7 and 8 more
Yeah.
instead of going past 9. In this case, rolling down here is 100% correct.
Yeah, 'cause I figured I had 2 Jins.
Yeah, I wouldn't have rolled down, but
Mm.
very, very smart. Okay, so hit that really too. It's obviously a fantastic decision to transition. I really like it. And this probably sets you up for fast 9. I really like it. I think this was a high roll. Like this is part of the reason why I think it's high roll. Not putting the GI on really makes a lot of sense too. I personally would have done it, but like I think it's all understandable why you didn't choose to do it. I personally would have done it because it gives me my strongest board. Okay. I make a note here that says you talk about how you want triple damage Irelia. I do agree with triple offensive damage Irelia in general. So I just want to
Got it.
let you know.
Okay, and you think Death Cap would be fine there as my 3rd damage?
Yeah, Death Cap is fine.
Okay. How do you feel about Infiltrator Spat Aurelia?
I think it's super, super, super strong.
Oh, really? Okay. And I guess only if you have an Infiltrator in, though, like an Echo or something, right?
Yeah, I think it's super, super strong. Yeah, I think it's super strong.
Okay.
Okay. And then at this point, hold on. Either at this point or at the next carousel. I have the next point I wanted to bring up, which was, yeah, okay. So right now you're gonna win streak to infinity. So it already feels like a high roll game. Okay. And the next part, yeah, this one is a big deal. So your last pick here, and then you're talking about how you want a second damage carry. And then you're like, what do I want? And you grab the bow and you're like, oh, I want to go KO. I mean, the problem is that like if you look at this board, why would you go KO? It's in my opinion, it's completely it doesn't make any sense because it doesn't make you stronger in the short run, and it's so far away that like you really shouldn't be thinking about it to do it even in the long run. Basically, you need 3 KOs, and you need to pretty much prioritize all your KO items next. So that means you'll never get any defensive items pretty much make any defensive items for the rest of the game. And you have to finish one more Irelia item. I mean, all 3 of these are impossible. So you're probably gonna take away your GA, which is you only have 2 defensive items right now. Oh, I wanna talk about this too real quick. So while we're talking about KO, is that you don't prioritize defensive items at all. You'll sometimes just slam like an early redemption, but you almost only tunnel for items for your carries. Usually you want to stack your carry, and then the rest of your items should be defensive utility items. So GA is fine as a defensive utility item on Jace. Redemption's fine. Stuff like Shogun's good, Saras is good. That kind of stuff, like Zephyr, like Shroud, that kind of stuff. The stuff that everyone builds. But you tunnel really, really, really hard on offensive item carries. And it's your front line is almost always non-existent in any of your games. So right now your front line is super, super strong. But in a few turns, you take out all your front line to put in backline units, and your team becomes a lot weaker. Like you could have not made that transition, and you would have done better. So
you're right. Actually, I didn't even realize, but I definitely prioritize offensive items, so that's something I need to stop doing so much. When you going back a little bit to talking about the Kale comp, I think I look at this board, right, and I'm like, okay, I have an Aurelia. Obviously, she's going to be my carry. And the 2 comps that I can think of where Aurelia makes sense are like a Chrono Kale type comp or a Cybers comp. But I feel like I'm really far from both. I feel like I'm even farther from Cybers because I don't have any Cybers, and it's really hard to get a Fiora and Leona at this point. So when you look at this board, what do you where do you go from here? Is it just, hey, I'm just gonna?
I see.
Yeah.
That didn't even cross my mind actually. I didn't even think about it like that. when I see this board, I see 5 tanks and a damage unit. I don't see a comp. That means that's the
Mm,
correct thing to think about. Like as in like this is a comp. You have front line, you have back line, and that's it, right?
interesting. Okay, I was probably
You
way
have
too tunneled on.
you
Hey, I need a comp with a name.
oh yeah, you don't need a comp with a name. So this is a comp. I mean, it doesn't seem like a comp, but it is. It's just I don't know, like Aurelian friends. It's a comp. It's you have the back line, you have a front line. With this board, you're not gonna lose until like I mean, obviously you have to start upgrading your board, but you're not gonna lose until Raptors for sure. There's just no way. This board is so strong. So just with that, you probably get top 4 alone because everyone's gonna die out. You don't need a comp. Anyways, adding KO here is probably the biggest reason why you started losing. Because you made your comp weaker at 5-1. It was just like it's just pretty insane. And you'll
Yeah,
see.
that's a grief.
Yeah. Anyways, you have front line, you have a back line, you don't need comp. If you ever watch my VODs, if you watch my VODs from Monday, I don't I mean like there are comps that are super rigid like Shredder or Voids. But most of the times when you play quote unquote KO comps or like any frontline comp plus backline comp, you don't need a comp.
Got it.
And
So when
you
you
need to
when
get out of that autopilot mindset if you want to improve.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely been in that mindset. So okay, so let's say you look at this, you're like, okay, I have strong front line, I have a damage carry. Is this a okay? I'm gonna try to go 9 and just play whatever individually strong units I can get at 9, or
Yeah, essentially it.
okay,
I mean, so if I were to improve this comp, I would try to finish up an Aurelia item. I would not get a KO item. I would focus on getting an Aurelia item. So you have a 3-item Aurelia. That's my first priority. If you don't get a 3-item for Aurelia, I probably would have put the GA on Aurelia. But I mean, obviously, you wanted the 3-item Aurelia, which is why you put the GA on Jace, right? So like, since you made that decision, I would finish my 3-item Aurelia and think of ways how to improve this comp by adding more units. So the one that obvious one that comes to my mind is just adding just adding Thresh, right? Adding Thresh, have units for him to pull. Adding a few more backline units, maybe MF. I don't know. Maybe a KO after all, but you don't need to itemize her. Right? Does that make
got it.
sense?
That makes sense. The other piece is so when I think back to why I picked up a bow, I felt like I'm 2 items away from another Aurelia damage item.
In that case, you should just put GA on Aurelia, right?
Yeah, you're right. Okay,
I mean, you made the decision that I want to get a 3 Aurelia item game. Then you can't. I mean, you can backtrack on it, but like the thing is, like, why did you make that decision in the first place, right? Like in that case, your first decision was wrong, right? So like you can, I mean you can, but like you can't like backtrack on your decisions, but like they just make a 3-item Aurelia in the first place. That makes way more sense to me.
okay. So you're saying just slam the GA, protect even more health and win streak harder, and then I can prioritize items for like maybe defensive items for another unit while I look for a random
Yeah,
5 cost who can put me over the top.
yeah,
Okay.
that's something like that. Yeah. Anyways, your comp doesn't need a name. I guess it's a big takeaway from the spot. Anyways, focusing on KL is definitely why you almost lost this game right here. Like you got very close to losing. But your comp is very strong right now. You're not gonna lose though. You're not gonna lose. Oh, you might lose here. You might lose here. No, that's okay. This guy's pop is insane. You're never gonna beat that. Even if you had like a rage play KO.
What do
Oh,
you?
right. Oh, wait. Right here, you sold Darius.
Mm-hmm.
You sold Darius to put in Ezreal. But leveling here would have costed you so little gold. Leveling would have costed you 12 gold to level. And then you put in Ezreal. You get Darius and Ezreal. And then if you win, you can sell Caitlyn and get to 40 gold. So you're probably losing 1 gold here if you leveled. And you went level 9. You lose 5 gold if you leveled 1 and stayed level 8. So it's the difference between 1 gold and 5 gold. Now the question is, obviously, leveling here is correct. Any pretty much everyone will tell you that. But there's a difference between this 1 to 5 gold versus the 6 to 8 gold you lost earlier from maintaining your lose streak. No, like not maintaining your lose streak right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean
In
the
both
earlier
cases, you're trying
gold.
to save HP, but in
Hmm.
this case, you're trying to. You could have saved a lot more HP and lost so little gold in the process.
For sure. Hey, a question about positioning here. How do you feel about this positioning? Because with Aurelia, I always kind of struggle. Like I feel like even at 2 stars, sometimes if I put her on front line, she just gets focused down. So I generally want to put her like I make a gap for her and I put her second row.
I think
And
that's
then
fine. Yeah.
should my Darius be all the way back so he gets there as late as possible? Because I feel like in stage 4, often my Darius just stops doing anything, stops killing anything.
I think that's fine. You can just also use them as a mana reaver as well. I think
Okay.
this position, I would do something like this.
Okay.
This is what I would do. I might do a really on the side though, but a really on this side is fine too.
Okay.
The most important unit to position is Kassadin. Everything else kind of doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Kassadin wants to hit the huge cone on the entire unit.
Yeah.
So I would scout and position Kassadin.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so you saw Darius and you put in Ezreal, and that makes your team a lot weaker.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely shouldn't have done that.
Probably you end up losing a ton of HP this fight, which if you had a Darius might have saved.
Mm.
I don't know. It's hard to say. You lose a ton of HP this fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to say whether Darius would have helped, but it seems like yeah, it definitely would have helped. I mean, look
Yeah.
how close this fight was.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, the whole idea is that like earlier you made the decision to save HP and lose gold. If you're not autopiloting, you would have made the exact same decision, right? And then you ended up lowering to here on Raptors anyways. So you lost your 4 gold. You would have made. You lost your 4 gold that it would have costed you anyways. So you're down 4 gold, and you're down like 10 HP. Does that make sense, right?
Yeah. That makes
So
sense.
the only difference was between last fight and this fight was that you made interest gold. Like the last round, next and this round is that you made interest gold. So you lost that last round for no reason. Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Holy shit! This is the saddest portion of this game. Okay. Okay. So you roll down. You're tunneling really hard in Chrono Kill right now. You sold your Jace 2 to put in a KO 1. You sold your Grace 2 to put in a Misfortune 1. You put all your defensive items into your backline. So your GA is now your backline. You don't make a single defensive item. You make an offensive. You take your 2 defensive components and you slam a red buff anyways. Obviously, I can't remember what the items. I don't know what I would have made. I don't know.
So would you
I don't
make?
know what I would have made.
Would
I don't know
you,
what I would have made. I would have
yeah.
considered maybe like I don't know, like a Locket and a Zeke's. I mean a Zizarot maybe.
Oh,
I
interesting.
don't
I
know.
I never make
I
locket.
mean,
I make Zed.
I probably slammed a Morello like 15 turns ago actually. Because you had Morello components on Jace, but you just didn't slam it. Probably slammed Morello 15 turns ago, so that means I probably would have Titanic Resolve. That's probably what I would have done. And then Titan's Resolve probably goes on Aurelia since she's a 3 damage item carry. So Titan's Resolve is just her 3rd damage item. That's probably what I would have done. But I mean, you choosing not to make Morello is totally understandable. But with these components, there's no way you just make 2 more offensive items. Anyways, your front line becomes butter. You sell all your 2 stars. So your board is actually weaker.
So here, to the point on tunneling on Chrono Kill, by the way, I totally agree. So should I have just, this is where I just say, okay, fuck it, we're just going to go 9, our board is strong enough, and we'll just go for like a 2-star 5 cost, right?
Oh no, your board is no longer strong enough. Your board is really weak right now.
No, not, but before I sold everything. I shouldn't have sold everything and just held
I
and
mean,
gone 9,
no,
right?
before you sold everything, your board was probably not strong enough either.
Oh, okay,
But
interesting.
you probably need to roll down and level and like hit a few units. Like, I don't know how I would make this board that much stronger, but what you did was definitely not stronger. Like, it's hard to say because you need some more damage on your team, and essentially the takeaway. But like, it's hard to exactly put damage in. Like maybe you can just put in MF1 and KL1, call it. So you have 4 frontliners. MF goes over Zaya. Kale goes over Blitzcrank. Maybe something like that. You have 4 frontliners, 4 backliners. Hard to say though. It's hard to say.
And how much at this point in the game? How much do you even value two Celestial?
I value. I mean, I do value it highly, but not that highly because I have to run a Zaya.
Okay.
Because you have to run a Zaya, you have -1 team slot.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't run a Zaya, and I actually make a point here later. So, anyways, you're still really strong just because your Irelia items are insane. Oh, and your lobby is kind of a low roll lobby, but this team is definitely weaker than what you had before. You may think it's stronger, like because you had you have all your team comp in, but I guarantee it's weaker. Your redemption actually saved you this fight too. Okay, anyways, so you sell a few blitzcranks, I think. Oh no, you don't. Okay, that's fine. At this point, you make a comment about how you will try to run for chrono. For chrono doesn't matter, so don't even worry about this energy. Oh, you got a few upgrades on MF. That's also a big deal as well. And then at this point you tunnel on Jinx again. You tunnel in on Jinx, and this one I can't even comprehend. But
Yeah,
you
me
tunnel on
neither.
Jinx because you want to replace Ezreal with Jinx. That's the reason why. But like, it's barely stronger, if very barely stronger, for a lot of reasons. First off, Jinx will never have an item, right? Second off, is if you have Ezreal, you can replace Blitzcrank. So you can put in a better unit here, like a Thresh. And I had a third reason in my mind. I just can't think of it. But you can't really fit her without dropping more frontliners. That's the whole point. So tunneling here on Jinx was, in my opinion, a huge mistake. Okay, you're still strong though. You're still strong. But imagine if this GA was on Aurelia. You don't even need this scale. I don't know. It's kind of a pity. Oh, Chronos here, good here. You put in more damage. Okay, Shen here is huge. Okay, so I don't have any more notes here. Yeah, your team comp's already falling out pretty hard because you have no front line. Jinx just got that was a Jinx one, by the way. Got a million resets and just instantly wiped your team because your front line is butter. It's not really butter anymore, but it's still kind of weak.
So it sounds like the big deal here is me selling off the Jace, who was basically the Jace with GA was basically my entire front line, and transferring my items to backline is the main thing that made my team weaker.
Yeah, you got pretty lucky with the Shen 2. Shen 2 is very tanky. So this is looking better than your Jace board already. This board looks better than your Jace board because you have like 3 frontliners. Earlier you had a Blitz 1 instead, so I mean the difference is should be obvious. A Blitz 1 versus a Shen 2 is a big difference. Okay. You don't really make any mistakes here. You put this on your Aurelius, obviously very strong. Okay, so at this point I have a note. I saved it till 6-1. I saved it to 6-1 for some reason, but so I guess we'll wait till 6-1. Yeah, we'll tell 6-1 so I can say the note after you do the bad things, you know? Your board's still very strong.
So if you see this board at this point, right? Is this now a go 9 situation? Because it's hard to see how I can get much stronger without hitting Kale 2, which I'm 2 kills away from. Aurelia 3, which I'm 4 Aurelias from. And
Yeah,
the
that's my
Jinx I
next
shouldn't be
point.
going for at all.
You might not be able to go 9 this game because you have so many units on the bench and they're so far away. It feels very tough. I really think might be a better option here, which is what you end up going for. Okay. Okay, so at this point you decide, okay, I'm not gonna go 9. I'm gonna sit here and roll for Jinx and Aurelia 3. I think that's a good decision. But then let's wait for your roll down, and I want to talk about it. Let me slow down. So at this point, you're rolling down, right? What are you rolling down for? Here, you describe it to me actually. Here, take a look at
Um,
your board and tell me what you're rolling down for.
yeah. So I imagine Wukong, Kale, MF, but that would be a high roll. I think I was rolling for Jinx, but I shouldn't have been rolling for Jinx because I
No,
just don't
no,
have any.
okay, you're rolling for Jinx as well. Just because in your mind you're rolling for Jinx.
Yeah. Um, I think I should have actually, in hindsight, we actually could have still gone, I guess, for Cybers.
No, no,
Um,
no, you're not going for Cybers here.
no.
There's no way. No, no, there's no way. Cybers, 6 Cybers is super weak. If you're talking about
Mm,
3 Cybers, it's pretty hard to fit it with your current comp.
yeah. Okay. So I think
But
go ahead.
it's possible. It's possible to go for Cybers. It's definitely not out of the question. But
Mm,
like, if you hit 3 Echoes here, I would consider it.
yeah. But I think I'm
Anyways,
basically just looking to top off my Wukong, top off my Kale, and go for Aurelia 3.
is there any other way you can get stronger?
Um, I mean, I guess Thresh and just a stacked bench
Is
would
there
make me
any other way
stronger.
you can get stronger?
Hmm.
I mean, I'm surprised this is so challenging actually.
I don't know.
Okay, okay, well, I thought for some reason it was just in the heat of the moment that you probably didn't think about it.
Uh-huh.
But you're running Irelia, Shen, and Kale. You're never gonna replace these 3 units, right?
Hmm.
Just because you're never gonna replace Irelia, you're never gonna replace Shen, and in your mind, you're never gonna replace Kale. Kale's probably not replaceable at this point.
Wait, so I'm going 6 BM?
No, you have 3 BMs. Why
Yeah.
are you running this unit? It's a dead unit. What can you put in from this very shop that would be better?
So I guess Echo would be better or Ash would be better.
Yeah, Ash would
Uh,
be so much better.
yeah.
A random Ash arrow would just win fights. So
Mm.
even having an Ash would be better. So you're actually rolling down for Ash as well, or Lulu, Ash or Lulu as well.
Hmm.
And there's one more unit that's completely dead in your comp.
The Wukong's dead.
No, the Wukong's fine.
Interesting. Well, I guess.
The Wukong's fine because it's
Uh,
a tank. It's a tank and you can get the front line.
mm-hmm.
It's not about the synergies. Ezreal's dead.
Okay, so
Because red buff, it
interesting.
doesn't matter. Red buff doesn't matter at this point in the game. I mean, it kind of matters, but 2 blasters definitely is not the crux of your damage. It's definitely Aurelia. And
Mm,
you wanna help Aurelia pop off, and you wanna put more frontliners in. So
mm.
Ezreal can be replaced by Thresh.
Interesting. Okay. So I think I just
Or
overly
or
focus on
Vanguard.
synergy.
Hmm?
I think I'm overly focused on synergies here. Because I see the red buff and I'm like, I want this spread out on as many people as possible, but it sounds like that's just not correct.
That's absolutely not correct.
Okay.
Anyway, so Ezreal is replaceable, and Zai is replaceable. You can replace him with the Vanguard too.
Hmm.
So then this way your frontliner becomes stronger.
So
Because you already
it sounds like late game you still generally speaking like you prioritize unit quality,
yeah,
right?
of course.
Unit
I mean,
quality.
these are
Okay.
bad units, right? We can all agree on that.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. That makes
Anyways,
sense.
so you should have been rolling. There was a lot to roll for. It didn't click in your mind that you could have been rolling for them. So you roll down. You pass Jaces. You pass a lot. You can also run Lulu Karma as well. You can run Lulu Karma. You can run Ashen. There's a lot of options here, but none of those ever clicked in your mind. So this roll down was kind of sad. You hit a ton of Aurelius, which saved you, which eventually saved you. But you were almost about to like um and the fact that you had a lot of HP also saved you, because it was kind of a high roll game. But like, if you were in a worse spot, you probably would have turned like a top 4 into a bottom 4. And anyway, so Irelia is Omega strong still, so it doesn't really matter. You win all your fights because you're Irelia, but you could have been a lot stronger. Your Kale and MF do nothing as well. It's just very sad how you got to this point. If you see, like a Kale 1 and MF 1 with no items would have done the exact same thing as your Kale and MF with items. Right? So it all goes to cement that you're not really playing your strongest comp. You're not thinking about why your comp isn't strong. You hit your frontline Wukong. You never end up replacing this Zaya as well. The Zaya is completely useless this entire game. And then okay. And then I think you got pretty unlucky with one of the fights. I didn't get to watch it, but you got pretty unlucky. Your comp is still really strong though. Oh, so you're still rolling for KO. Oh, you hit it? Okay, that's fine. And at this point, you're probably rolling for Irelia. That's totally fine. Positioning is also totally fine. One more positioning tip I would give you real quick is when you play Irelia Jinx, you always want Irelia to be right in front of your Jinx. Because Irelia helps Jinx get the reset off almost immediately. That's just almost always what happens. You do it in this fight, but you don't prioritize it in your future fights. So make sure that's happening.
Got it. So you just want them focusing the same unit.
Yeah,
Got it.
that always needs to happen.
That makes sense.
Okay, you hero and Irelia 3. Even with this Irelia 3, it still might not be a win because the other two people's team comps are insanely strong. So it's not too bad to get a third here. It was definitely winnable though. It's definitely top 2 and winnable though.
So when you look at the board now, we needed to replace the Zaya. Besides the Zaya replacement, is there anything else that we should be looking for?
You can't take out anything anymore because
Yeah.
it's already fully upgraded.
Yeah. Okay.
So the Jinx stays. Yeah.
Hmm.
But there was a difference, right? There was a difference of having 2 Jinxes on the board and tunneling for it, and 2 Jinxes on the bench and tunneling for it, and versus like rolling down and just picking up also like Thresh. Like a Thresh would have been better than a Jinx one here, right? Very obvious it would have. So there's a big difference. So that's why you want to play your strongest comp. Anyway, so I also wrote down some general impressions. Overall, pretty solid. I like how you played most of your early game decisions. I kind of liked. Besides that, I love them there. I felt like you really high rolled this game, but you didn't capitalize it during after Raptors. And you need to put all your items on your Pirates early game to econ a little bit harder early game. And maybe if you had a little bit more econ, you probably could hit 9 this game. It's hard to say. Or hit an Irelia 3 earlier. It's hard to say. Or even hit a Jinx 2 earlier. Or a KO 2. And then level 7 roll down was a really good decision. I wouldn't have done it myself. In hindsight, you were definitely right. So I kind of got that takeaway. So I learned a little myself. Late game, you didn't pin your fully optimal team comp. I don't know. I don't know exactly what's the reason, but you probably just need more practice playing Chrono Chaos. Hard to say.
Yeah. I think the big takeaway for me, and I 100% agree with everything you said. This is amazing. Thank you. I think the biggest thing is I'm over tunneling on like I need a comp, and not thinking instead about like unit quality, frontline, and my itemization is pretty poor because I'm overly offensive. So those are the big things. In terms of snowballing that, so it was high roll, right? Like I hit the Jace 2 pre-Krugs. How do I snowball that harder in the mid game? Because I felt like I had Jin.
In the mid game,
Yeah.
you positioned very poorly, and you essentially threw away your high roll Jace.
Yeah.
You just need to split up your aggro a little bit better so that Jace gets more ults or more consistent ultimates.
Makes
so
sense.
I mean, it wasn't even a high roll mid game because you kind of threw it away by positioning poorly.
Makes
Your
sense.
mid game was not that high roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you high roll the units, but like in the end result was not the high roll. It was definitely the level 7 roll down that was a high roll because you definitely don't usually hit Irelia 2 with like 40 gold left over with perfect items Irelia, you know? That's what I thought was high roll.
For sure.
Okay, I'm gonna go use the bathroom. If you want to take any questions from chat or anything like that. Otherwise, I'll be right back.
Sure. Thanks, man. All right. Let's check out the chat now. See what people have been saying. Oh, you know what? Let's not do this. Let's switch scenes so it's not confusing for everyone. All right, cool. Dude, this is so helpful. I can't believe I didn't do this earlier. Let's see. Oh, so first of all, CC3HMF, thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to the tribe. Oh, actually, you gifted a sub. So going to feed, I've seen you. You're a regular. So thank you so much. And guys, sorry if you're getting echo. I think it's because of the audio coming through my speaker and hitting my mic. So hopefully it's not as bad on the VOD, but It is what it is. I'm trying to like turn off the mic when I'm not talking, but we're doing what we can. And yeah, Uzi stole clothes, and he realized I'm distracted, so he decided to terrorize the house. So let's see. Um, yeah, it's some really interesting positioning. Actually, wasn't really. He's right. Especially on stream, I autopilot the early game positioning. So I think when we play some games after, let's really focus on like the positioning early game. And instead of doing what we've been doing, like do positioning that.
Okay, cool. I'm
Um,
back.
cool. All right, let's continue when you're ready.
Okay, so yeah, so for game two was a very different beast. You high rolled a little bit, I think. You high rolled a little bit, and then I guess I'll comment after the game.
Okay.
So watch it. Let's skip the early game. Let's bump it up to like 3 speed. Oh, you're at this point you're talking about how you want to play Kazakhs. That's fine. The Kazakhs build, it's totally fine. Probably would have sold Poppy to get Zeke's off Poppy, but I don't know. It's fine, right? You could have sold Poppy, bought the other 2 Poppies if you wanted to. But now you have to backline your Poppy for the rest of the game essentially. It's not a big deal, but okay. So at this point you're like, okay, I'm not playing Kazakhs anymore. And that's a totally fine decision. You're thinking about Candyland, that's totally fine. But if you're thinking about Candyland, you probably should have popped the item off of Poppy. So imagine like having a naked Poppy versus having a Zeke's Poppy in Candyland. That's a huge deal. Like a Zeke's Poppy is awful. So I mean, in that case, you should have popped the item off Poppy. And at this point, you also level. The position is fine, and you win this fight. That's also okay. It's your next turn. That's also very bad. So your decision here is fine. So at this point, was it this turn? Might have been next turn. Oh yeah. At this point, you committed a QSS. You committed a QSS at this point. So I left a comment here because committing QSS is okay, but probably not in this scenario because QSS early game is extremely useless, and you want to make offensive items instead because it can help you save HP. Offensive items allow you to kill units. Defensive items on your carries, like your like Caitlyn, doesn't allow you to kill units. So QSS tend to be pretty useless early game. So don't do it too much unless you're on like an insane win streak. So I would not make a QSS here. It actually ends up biting you down in the later of the game because you end up never finding a glove and you couldn't make like a fully optimal comp. Wait, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm just alternating, turning off my mic and stuff because there's echo. But yeah, I hear you,
Okay.
and that makes sense.
So making this QSS does you say that when this fight probably didn't matter actually, but so this QSS was bad. It actually cut your options like crazy too. Yeah, I would slam items in general. I would slam items in general, but not such a weak early game item like QSS. Like I would slam Theosclus because it's a strong early game. I would slam stuff like Hand of Justice because it's strong early game, or like Spirit Shojin. I would not slam QSS.
Oh, interesting. So, just on Spear Surgeon, that's an item I rarely make. Who do you like to place that on later in the game if you slam that early game?
Spirit Shojin has a ton of late game users. Like MF is an insane Spirit Shojin user.
Yeah, Lulu.
That's probably one of
etc.
the best users. There's actually a ton. Like Thresh is insane. Lulu's insane. Karma and Soraka are incredible. Grace holds it really strong early. Kale, not Kale. TF holds it really well early. So it's like if you were trying to win streak, I would slam it. I wouldn't slam it every game, but that's a good reason why I would slam it because it's strong early and strong late.
Got it. Makes sense.
Okay. Oh, here I make a big deal. Oops, I make a big deal. I forgot. I was reading my notes right now. Here you said, oh, I want to level. Should I level? You ended up leveling to maintain win streak. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But what you level for doesn't make any sense. You level for sorcerers. Oh no, you level for Star Guardians. That doesn't make any sense. If you want to level for Chrono.
Mm-hmm.
Chrono's a 50% DPS boost early game. It's also a 15% mana generation boost.
Yeah,
So,
that's much better.
Chrono's way better. But I definitely don't disagree with the leveling decision. Leaving Leona here too. It's so sad.
That's pretty sad.
And that Kyo says it's so sad on Leona. It's so sad.
Yeah.
I was so sad you committed it. It's actually really sad.
Mm-hmm.
The illusion's fine. You don't really have any options. Okay, you do end up playing Chrono now, I think. Hold on. Oh, I have a note here. Oh, you said, oh, I don't know if my positioning is good. Oh, and I had a note here that says, oh yeah, your position here is very good. You're like, oh, I don't know how to position my team comp, but this position is way better. Look at them split aggro. You can already tell the difference. Imagine if Mordekaiser was frontlining. Look here. The difference between what you had last game versus this game. So in your last game, your Jace solo frontline, solo tanked every single fight. This game, your Poppy is splitting aggro with your Mordekaiser, and your Mordekaiser ends up living through a Kha'Zix ult, and then finally dies. That's a huge difference. If you had last game position, your Mordekaiser would have died instantly. Might not have even gotten his ult off, right? So like the difference is enormous. And then Poppy, and I don't know, the fight would have probably gone the same because you're so much stronger than the other guy. But like that's a huge difference. That's why this position is very good. And then I think you end up changing this position because you're like, oh, that's not good. I'm gonna go ahead and wait. Oh, you don't change it now. You change it after Krugs. You change it after Krugs. Here is still okay, but your Poppy's no longer splitting aggro with your Mordekaiser. Because your Poppy's always behind Mordekaiser. This is a very big difference between this diagonal. Watch, Mordekaiser's not going to hit split aggro. Oh, actually, this fight ended up okay. But there's a very big difference between those two positionings. It's still okay. It's still okay. It's still way better than what you're about to do. Oh, God. You do this. And you keep it like this for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that at all.
So bad. This is so bad. This is actually so sad.
Yeah. So if I had to guess, well, let's see actually. Let's see if I get any items. So maybe I wanted more to get surrounded. I mean, either way, it's wrong, but let's see.
I mean, either way, even if you want to get surrounded, it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get any items, valuable items. Okay, here you make a big decision. You commit red buff, and you tunnel on Brawler Blasters for the rest of the game. Like for the entire rest of the game. And I'll tell you right now, you don't have a Lucian 2, you don't have a Grace 2, you don't have a Jinx 2, you don't have an Ezreal 2 until like after Raptors. So given that knowledge, would this be a Brawler Blaster game?
No.
Even if you make red buff? Let's just say you knew that ahead of time. And you make red buff, would you still tunnel on it? My answer is probably still yes. Just because I think you're autopiloting.
So in this case, do you feel like it's correct to make the red buff, but just treat the red buff as something to preserve the win streak?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what you should do. But instead, you treat this red buff as committing to Brawler Blasters, and it's the rest of the game is like not even. I thought the game was over here actually, because I watched the rest of the game. It was almost pointless because every decision you make, you're like, oh, this isn't a Brawler, this isn't a Blaster, I'm not gonna buy it. I mean, we went fast forward this entire game, and that's exactly what happens. You level here to maintain win streak. That's fine. you end up being on the most insane win streak. Oh, this position is so sad. Look at your Mordekaiser. Gets focused every single fight. Instantly dies. Doesn't ult every single fight. You obviously still win these because you're so high level and you're so strong. But like, you could be getting so much more value from units. You did end up hitting a Jinx. So at this point, you're like, okay, I'm 100% Omega contested. I mean, Omega committed. Okay, I'm so super committed. You already know this is a Brawler Blast game, and so then look at the very next turn. It's so sad. Is it the next turn? Oh yeah, the very next turn. Okay, at this point, you're like in your mind, you're like, okay, 100% Brawler Blast game. Can't be anything else. I'm a full committing. I'm not even gonna scout. I'm just gonna commit to Brawl Blasters. You hit your Ezreal, so you full sell your entire board of 2 stars to commit to full Brawl
Yeah,
Blasters,
this is bad. I remember
and
this
you
one.
you instantly lose. If you just played this, you would have won. The rest of the game is pretty much the exact same decision made over and over again. Wait, look at the difference between the board.
Yeah.
Level 1, level 1, level 1, level 1. You have 4 blasters, you have 2 chrono versus versus level 2, level oh hold on. Versus your 7 win streak versus hold on. What did you end up what did you have before? I can't remember. Versus level 2, level 2, level 2, level 2, level 2, level 2, level 2. 2 vanguards, 3 chronos, 2 sorcerers. Like this combo this team, if you just maybe added like a few more upgrades, would have one streaked you through wolves.
Mm.
But you lose it right away because you just downgrade your board. Although the opponent you fought was pretty strong, but you still would have won with the. I think you still would have won with the previous board.
Mm. So at this point, I agree this is the wrong decision. But I look at the board that I've been streaking with, and it doesn't look like it's going to continue to streak. Do you still keep that board?
Yeah, you would.
And
no, you
and
absolutely would. Because even if it doesn't streak, it saves you a ton of HP.
Yeah. Okay.
Holding the blasters and losing like 1 or 2 gold per turn is probably worth the chance of streaking. And with the previous board, I know you said I'm not gonna win this fight. You probably were gonna win this fight with the previous board.
Mm.
You make a saying. You say that this guy's super strong. I'm not gonna win anyways. He's not super strong.
Yeah. He's
Your
not.
board is way stronger than his.
Mm-hmm.
And you lose your streak here. It's very sad.
Yeah, definitely tunnels here.
And the rest of the game is just this repeated like 10 more turns.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point you're like, oh, I'm gonna build a brawler blaster item. So I think you go for glove because you want a brawler blaster item. Can't remember.
Is it not correct when you have the
That
jinx
is
to
correct.
commit to brawler blaster from that point though, or at least not?
No,
Obviously, I
no,
shouldn't
the
ignore
previous
everything you
board.
shot, but yeah. Sorry.
I would have leaned towards brawler blasters. I wouldn't have committed until I found a jinx 2 or illusion 2 maybe. Maybe illusion 2 because then you're strong enough to commit. Oh yeah, you didn't even take care of your last remaining 2-star unit to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Also, at this point, if you're gonna commit, do it commit properly, which is actually just put the items on the best units. So your your QSS and your red buff should go on Jinx, right? And then you build a third item for Jinx. But instead, you don't even commit fully. You commit wishy-washily, which is you stack Lucian. But yeah, you should just stack Jinx at this point.
Yeah. So my thing with the QSS and red buff is I've had experiences in the past where I just feel like it's not enough. Like QSS doesn't feel great on Jinx because usually my issue is not CC, it's more damage, and then B, red buff just doesn't feel like enough damage. And I think I maybe should have committed the red buff, but maybe not
I
the
believe red buff
QSS.
does more damage than Giant Slayer and like IE.
Oh wow,
And
then
Lucius Spread.
IE. Okay, wow.
I'm pretty sure red buff does the most amount of damage of all the Jinx items. So you just put on Jinx.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe someone else can check. But red buff, if you play Brawl Blasters frequently, you know that red buff goes on Jinx. People can tell you, oh, anyone spreads red buff just as well. No, red buff goes on Jinx always because it's a damage item for Jinx. In addition to a damage item, it's also a survivability item on Jinx. Like a giant triple Giant Slayer Jinx dies very quickly, but double Giant Slayer red buff Jinx dies much slower because the 250 HP adds a huge difference.
Okay. So even to the extent that maybe it's similar damage output, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's the same.
It's very similar.
Yeah, it's more about the defensive capability that it goes into.
No, I mean like your damage items should just go on Jinx. You don't make 6 damage items in Brawler Blasters because you make 3 Jinx items and then you stack utility items. Right? Everyone does that. You make 3 Jinx items and you make like Zephyrs, you make Redemptions, you make I don't know, you make Shojins, just whatever random items, and then you just make 3 Jinx items. No one would build Brawler Blasters where you stack Jinx and then you stack MF and then you have a naked frontline. At least that's not the correct way to play it.
Okay, yeah. That's definitely how I've been doing it, so that's not correct.
Yeah, and so as a result, your frontline is usually, even though you have 4 beefy frontliners, it's still probably too weak. Utility items are actually so important. Like a Spark is good too. Like a Spark is good alternative damage. Spark is really good because it helps you get resets, and it actually does a lot of damage for your tank units. Anyways, you're not super weak here, because you do have pretty good items. It's after Wolves where you become Omega weak. Leveling here was also really good. Really like the leveling decision. You were debating on it, so I'm really glad you did it.
Just because it cost me so little interest, right?
Yeah.
Preserve health.
Soul interest makes you a lot stronger. You're on a one win streak, and it's pirates probably made you pirate gold.
Sorry, going back to red buff and QSS. So red buff, it sounds like basically the argument for putting red buff on Jinx is, well, you shouldn't be making another damage item just because you don't like red buff. You should be making utility. You need to prioritize utility items after you have 3 Jinx items. So red buff is fine. But the QSS probably not on Jinx until I have to, right? Because it's just not that great of a defensive item for her, is it?
Alright, that's fine. That's a good argument. Yeah, you can put your QSS at front line, or like a back line. You can use that for defensive stats. Yeah, that's a good argument. I can vibe with that.
Okay.
But as long as you're making those like decisions based on thinking about it, that's the difference. Like I totally agree with that. I would have put it on Jinx, but because I prefer having the strongest team. But like I totally agree why you wouldn't put it on Jinx. But as long as you go through that thought process, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Okay. Okay, at this point, it's very sad. I mean, the rest of the game is just the exact same thing. Like I said, you're like, I'm not gonna make this unit because it's not a brawler or a blaster, and you have a level 1 board for like 7 or 8 turns. So this roll down, you hit Kassadin. Kassadin's fine. I mean, that's a good decision. And you don't make Darius. Here, I'll show you.
Yeah, I'm definitely tunneling on. I need these units for a comp and no one else.
You're still not that weak yet. Just because red buff is such a good item, you're still not that weak. But like realistically, if you didn't have red buff, you would lose like 5-0 every fight. But the fact that you have a red buff makes it so that you have a chance. Like red buff is half your damage right now. If you can see, it's so much.
How do you feel about positioning here? Should Jinx be like 1 away from Blitz so that Blitz doesn't also get Graves ulted? I mean, at this point, not that many people are playing Graves, I guess, but in general, yeah, how's the positioning
you can
here?
think about it. I mean, this positioning is fine as a default positioning. There's nothing wrong with it. You have a frontliner, you have a backliner. There's nothing egregiously wrong with it. Okay, right here, you don't even make Darius because you're like, it's not a brawler or blaster. You should play it because it's your strongest board. You make Kassadin, but you don't make Darius here. I mean, if you look at Darius and you just replace any of your units, like, sure, you don't really need 4 blasters. You just replace Graves. Isn't it already stronger? It's way stronger.
Yeah.
Mana Reaver is such a very strong synergy. So you don't get it. You just play a full 1-star board. You make the choke too. Okay, that's fine.
So generally, when you're playing Brawler Blaster, you're going to Blaster and then just whatever synergies make sense. Like I guess here I could have run Celestial with the Lulu.
Yeah,
maybe Mystic.
I like the 4 brawler synergy. I would prioritize it even if I have to run like a level 1 buy.
Yeah.
Or like a level 1 Cho'Gath. But yeah, in general, you should try to be flexible. Your entire board's 1-star, so
yeah.
somewhere something went wrong.
For sure. Yeah, I think I might roll down. I'm just too tunneled on the units that I want for my comp.
Okay, and then at this point, you make a choice whether at this point you're like so this is a for fun carousel, right? It's a for fun carousel. You're like okay, you look at this board and you said, I want if I could pick any item right here, you said that you wanted a Zeke's. So your choices are Zeke's, Ludens, Hextech, Disarm, Redemption, Drew Gauntlet, Shroud, Zezerat, Frozen Heart, you're like, oh, this is the easiest choice. I want Zeke's. Zeke's is like the last item I would pick here from this carousel. Because you want a defensive item. You have like one defensive items, right? Something like that. 1 or 0. So in my opinion, I'd pick the Shroud, the Redemption, and then the Frozen Heart.
In that
And then
order,
maybe Zero.
you think Shroud's the
Uh
best there?
actually maybe Redemption's better, but
Okay.
these two for sure.
Okay.
Then Frozen Heart, then Z0, something like that. And you still need a damage item. But even like this is probably better than Zeke's.
So, do I need another damage item? Because we have IE red buff now, right, for Jinx?
Yeah, you don't need a damage item.
Yeah, so we're actually good on damage.
Which is why even if you did need a damage item, I wouldn't pick Zeke's. But I don't know. You really want a Zeke's, and you end up picking up this arm. That's okay. Because your options are really bad. Everybody took all the good items.
Mm.
This arm's fine. There's some rubber Ludens. That's totally fine. I probably would have picked up this arm as well, but I think Luden in hindsight, since I'm VOD reviewing, in hindsight, I think Ludens is correct because you can put on Cassidon. But that's hindsight. You can put on Cassidon and help Jinx get a reset. That's hindsight though. There's no way I would have made that decision because it's hard to think about nuances like that when you're playing the game. Okay. This is fine. You just bleed out HP for the rest of the game, but then there's another important decision you make. That's in my opinion correct. But you just bleed out HP for the rest of the game. Okay. You roll a little bit. You find your 4 brawlers. You put it in. You just keep bleeding. That's fine because your comp is really weak. So at this point, you're like, oh shit, I need to get stronger. I need to get stronger. I'm gonna roll down after Raptors. That's fine. You're still not picking any of the units offered to you. You probably saw like 3 earlies already, but not a single one was picked up.
Do you
And then like
do you think there's a world where you run Aurelia? I guess. I mean, I have the IE. I guess.
no, I mean, if you had an Aurelia too, and you look at this board, you would probably pivot.
Oh
But
wow.
it's
Okay.
hard to say.
Mm.
Anyways, you find an MF here. You're like, oh shit. Hold on, what do you find? Okay, you find an MF here, and you're like, oh shit. Okay, I'm gonna run MF. And then you put all your items on MF, which is just, in my opinion, completely incorrect, right? Like Jinx is your carry, isn't it? In Brawl of Blasters, you should just put your damage item on Jinx. So put the rep buff on Jinx, right?
Yeah, that makes
Because
sense.
you want her to pop off. So you don't even put the rep buff on Jinx.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, you're running a one item Jinx in Brawl of Blasters. Your team is very, very weak. Jinx almost never gets resets.
So who do you Zeke's the Jinx also, or do you just wait to see if you can get another
That's why I don't
item?
like that's why I don't like Zeke's, because there's no good Zeke's holder in your comp.
Yeah.
Maybe Ezreal. And then the disarm can also go on MF. But yeah, there's no good Zeke's holder in your comp.
Okay.
Maybe Blitzcrank. I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do with Zeke's either. You would actually have to think about it and maybe like test things out yourself. And then you end up dropping your Cassidon 2 for Rebels. After you hit Jinx 2. Oh, but that's obviously incorrect. You start your Cassidon 2, you just put in Rebels. At this point, like, you definitely made your team weaker, and it's just like, alright, well.
Mm.
And what can you do?
So it
But
feels
yeah,
like Go ahead.
I was gonna say Cassie's stronger than Rebels here.
Mm-hmm.
I just, yeah, I want to make sure you know.
Yeah.
You find his digs, which is big, but then you kind of put the demo span on MF. So essentially useless. Because you gave her all these items, which were completely useless on her too. I don't know. I mean, but this also feels like you're not that familiar with Brawl Blasters, because, I mean, like I feel like once you play the comp enough, you always put red buff on Jinx. So it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Not sure.
No, that makes sense though. I mean, I didn't think about it from perspective of, well, you shouldn't be making so many offensive items, so just get whatever offensive items you can get on her, and then all defensive and utility. That makes sense.
Oh, and he turned for the Zeke's again, and you ended up getting Frozen Heart, which is like, oh, thank God the guy took Frozen Heart away from you. I mean, took Zeke's away from you, because Frozen Heart is way better. I can't even stress how much better it is right now. Your Jinx doesn't need 30% more attack speed. She needs to get her ult off, and for her to get her ult off, your tanks needs to survive. That's just the difference. Like 30% more initial attack speed doesn't get her ult off. It actually doesn't. Yeah, she never even gets her ult off in this fight. Yeah. She's also incredibly low damage because her only damage is IE. Anyways, so you end up getting 6 this game, which feels pretty good. Partially the reason why you got 6 this game was because you had a lot of HP though.
So when thinking about Jinx items, let's say I have like IE red buff on her. Do you think that's enough to top 4, or like how important do you think Last Whisper is?
I mean,
Yeah.
I would prioritize Last Whisper if I could, but it's not that important.
Okay, got it.
Okay. And then in general, you should scout more and all that crap, but that's more like stuff you do off stream. It's kind of hard to do it on stream, so I don't blame you for that. When I stream, I pretty much never scout my opponents either, so it is what it is. And then what do you do here? I think you roll down for MF. I think that's the correct decision. You roll down for an MF. You don't hit the MF. That's okay. You could consider at some point, like maybe you can transfer MF items to an MF1 with a Nico. Like Nico MF, sell Ezreal, put the items on MF, put the red buff on Jinx, but I don't think you would have ever made that decision.
So thinking about the QSS, like if I know Jinx is my carry, but it kind of feels. I mean, I guess you can slam. You would have, if I'm understanding your playstyle, just slammed the QSS many rounds ago on the Jinx once you knew Jinx was going to be your carry, right? Because
Yeah.
I kind of view it as like, oh, if I hit MF, then QSS is really good on her. But of course, there's no guarantee that I ever hit MF, right? So it doesn't make sense to hold
Yeah.
it, right? Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna have some game team impressions, but I mean, you lost 90% of your HP between rounds. I believe right before Wolves to right before Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
No, right after Raptors. No, like right, pretty much during the middle of Raptors, somewhere like that. Like a little bit after Raptors. You lost like 60 to 70 HP. What if I told you, putting a QSS there would have saved you 20 HP? Would you do it? Of course
Yeah,
you
for
would.
sure.
But like you were saving QSS for MF, but like MF didn't even matter till like you were dead already. So you were already dead by the time you had your QSS on your optimal unit. Okay, so game two impressions. You had a really strong early game. You transitioned really early to a suboptimal team comp. You should have played your strongest board until 4-3, and then decided on a comp when you rolled down and you hit a 2-star 4 cost. You tunneled really hard on Brawler Blasters because of one red buff and finding one Jinx. You actually had plenty of options from that spot. You didn't hit Lucian 2, Ezreal 2, Graves 2, Jinx 2 until after Raptors. So you bled out HP the entire game. There was no need to commit to Brawler Blasters without those units. QSS limited your options way too much. Used up a Precious Glove that could have helped you transition to Irelia or KO or something like that. And the QSS didn't make you stronger the entire game. It's completely a dead item. It almost did nothing the entire game. So you literally threw those two components away. And bad itemization overall, focusing on damage. And like you're not even focusing on damage that would help Jinx pop off like Giant Slayer or like Last Whisper. You're focusing on damage that would like increase your like consistency like Zeke's.
Mm-hmm.
And no focus on the tanking utility items. And those are just my impressions
Yeah.
of game two.
Yeah.
So this game, In both games, I think he high rolled actually.
Mm-hmm.
But in this game, the high rolling like really it was really evident on like why your mid game was so weak.
Mm-hmm.
In the first game, it wasn't because you actually got really lucky with Irelia 3. Since Irelia 3 existed, it covered your weakness of like how to play KO properly, which is to um, improve your comp by replacing the units. Instead, you just wrote down for Irelia 3, so like it covered your weakness. So in that sense, it made you seem like a better player. But like in my mind, like if you didn't hit that Irelia 3, um, your team was really weak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Makes
those
sense.
are just my feedback.
Cool.
I don't know how much I don't know how much this will actually help you, but in the short run, it will definitely hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause you're not gonna be playing how you're used to, and but you do need to, if you're in a slump for too long, my general advice is if you're doing well, just keep doing what you're doing. If you're in a slump, you gotta try new things. So
Yeah. No, dude, this is all amazing. Thank you so much. Regardless of the short term results, I know this is definitely all stuff I need to work on. So, dude, thank you. I can't thank you
yeah,
enough. This is amazing.
yeah, but yeah, in general, I think if you're trying to autopilot, if you're trying to learn, you do need to autopilot a little bit less.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell when you're autopiloting when you're not autopiloting, but like I feel like for a good majority of your game you're autopiloting.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I can't tell you why I think that, but it just feels like that.
Oh well, I think part of it is on stream. It's harder to think it out, but I think I need to go back to the basics a little bit here.
I actually have
Yeah.
the opposite mentality. On stream, I think like crazy. I talk to myself like crazy, and I like think it through, and I play. I like end up making decisions I would never make off stream. And
Mm.
like off stream, I just sometimes just like watch anime while I play the game, and it's just like really relaxing. I autopilot the entire game.
Mm.
Anyways, I'm glad you gave me those two games, because those two games actually really highlighted your weaknesses. Um, so both of them had very similar weaknesses. So hopefully you can take away from this.
Yeah, dude, I did. I'm gonna rewatch the VOD later because this is like there's just so much good stuff in here. So, dude, thank you so much. I'm
Yeah.
gonna let you go because I've already taken up so much of your time. I really appreciate it. Feel free to use whatever you want for whatever content you have coming out. And then
Uh,
yeah,
yeah. Okay. It's not really content for me, but yeah.
whatever you need it for.
You'll see. You'll see. Oh, there'll be like an announcement.
Okay, cool.
And then if you have any more remaining questions, let me know.
Will do, man.
Yeah. Cool.
All right,
All right.
Socks.
Take care.
Thanks.
All right. Good luck, dude.
Thank you. See ya. Damn, that was fucking amazing. That was so good. All right, let's go loosen LP trying to incorporate all this feedback. But that was really good. I hope you guys got as much out of that as I did because I got a ton. I think the big things were I need to be focusing on unit quality and unit level, not so much like the comp that I'm trying to fit into. That was a big issue in the Aurelia game, for sure, and also a pretty big issue in the second game. I need to be prioritizing defensive items way more because I'm ending up and this is actually a big trend in my play, ending up with comps where I have a bunch of offensive items and my front line is super squishy, even if they're 2-star. And my positioning early game, this one's probably the easiest to correct. I need to be doing better positioning that focuses on splitting aggro. Like it's okay to protect against blitz, but I should be splitting aggro and making sure the units who I'm putting in front are either they need to be in front like a grave so they get their ult off fast, or they can be in front of the rest of my team, but they shouldn't be all the way in front. I think those are the biggest things. All right, let's queue up, guys. I'm excited to play now, and I'll also take a look at the chat. Give me a second.